Okay, moms, dads, boys, girls, as part of our continuing education program, we're going to talk a little bit about socialism. We don't have a problem with socialism here. We don't have a problem with communism. We don't have a problem with Marxism. We don't have we do have a problem with fascism, but that's another issue. We don't have a democratic republic. We don't even have a republic anymore. So let's start with all those things. First off, the United States of America was intended to be a republic, not a democracy. That means that there were however many states. Each state was independent, and they were a group of states combined in a republic for certain things, mutual defense, that sort of thing. Okay. Now, these days, too many people are putting too many labels on too many things. There is no left, no right. It's us, it's the human beings, the little people in the world against the corporate interests, the filthy rich. Okay, the politicians are just in between. They're just being used like we are. They just get paid to sell their souls to the, I'm not a religious guy, but let's just say they sell their souls to somebody, probably the devil. If you're a religious person, I would say major corporate interest, or they're blackmailed in many cases because they get them on camera. Going all the way back, I'm learning that even Hugh Hefner was a CIA kind of operation at the Playboy Mansion, where they actually put in cameras, and then he'd invite all the rich and famous to his Playboy Mansion and say, hey, I got a room, and hook them up with whatever they wanted. And that's how the CIA controlled people for many years. And the same thing goes on. That's what Epstein was. Everybody knows that. So let's not get tied up in a whole lot of labels, though. It's really one group of military-industrial complex, was what Ike warned us about. Some people call it the deep state, others call it the globalists, okay? But when we start this, these are socialists, and people that are saying this don't really know what socialism is. They don't know what communism is. The people out in the street, they don't know any better what they're doing. A lot of them are agitated by people that are paid very well to get out in the streets and start shit with the cops, okay? And people are being manipulated. It's all a big psyop. There's no difference between Fox News and ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC. You're going to get exactly the same news stories from all three of them, and there'll be a little a small difference, a very small difference. And on election night, there was no difference. In fact, Fox was in a conspiracy with a number of other networks to be the ones to be the first ones, if they could, to call estates against the president, okay? And so Fox double-crossed, they screwed all those loyal fans for years on election night, and now they're all trying to get their listeners back. It's like the Republican Party. They did everything they could to not help Trump, and they're all rubbing their hands together, including our senator here in Florida, Senator Rick Scott. Rick, you must be kidding to think that you were someday going to run for president. What a joke, you dumbass. That being said, these people, they all betrayed the president, and they betrayed you, the people that put them in office. That's why we got to get these mofos out. But nevertheless, we got to get away from these labels. Let's just call it what it is. If you're out there saying, yeah, we got to get those socialists, that means nothing. You can't tell me what a socialist is, 99.9% of you. And it doesn't matter, because these labels are no longer relevant anymore. And if they ever were in our day and age. Now, I've labeled myself for many, many years. I thought I was a European-style socialist. I thought this. I thought I was a pretty right-wing Republican. I've been a pretty left-wing Democrat. And you know what? Over the years, basically, I was being manipulated in my thoughts by people that were withholding news from me or giving me half a story or just basically lying. You know, they lied us into Vietnam. They lied about the Kennedy assassination. They lied about 9/11. No official story is true. Now, can you blame this on socialists or Democrats or Republicans? They've all been lying. I mean, name the politician that's told us the truth in the last, I don't know. I'm 70. I remember most of 65 years of that because my family was involved in politics. My grandfather certainly was, and he loved Roosevelt. But at the end of his life, I think he found out that Roosevelt knew about Pearl Harbor in advance, and he died an angry man because he'd been fooled. And that's kind of the way I feel. I feel like I lived 65 years of my life and didn't know what the fork was going on. And that's why I'm talking to you right now, because you younger people, I hope some of you listen to me and some of you hear me. You're going to hear things, and you're going to get in groups, and there's going to be people that'll set themselves up as authorities on certain things. It's all bullshit. Do your own damn research, okay? And it's out there. And turn off your TV set. You're not going to learn any truth from Fox, from Newsmax, from any of those cable, the media sources of the past. They've been lying to us about everything for years. Get out there. I'm not the best researcher. I'm certainly not the greatest YouTuber in the world, although I've been doing this before, and I'm coming back to it, and I hope to get better, and a little bit better technically might help. But listen, folks, the information's out there. And get off of the Facebooks, get off of the Twitters, go to the places that don't censor, like Telegram. And I'm on YouTube because that's still 90% of the market. But, if I start to really talk about something controversial, I'll cut off of YouTube and put it over on BitChute and Rumble and eventually Odyssey and as many more as will take me, where I won't have to worry so much about censorship. So those are the facts. The system of government that we really have is, if you really want to talk about it, is since the war, we have what smarter people than me would call a inverted totalitarianism. And basically, they found that totalitarian governments, where people think they have a vote or have a choice, work best for the people in power. So they'd rather not have us vote at all. But they found that the problem with the earlier versions of fascism and communism, they were too much dependent upon one strong man, Joseph Stalin. When he died, it made their system technically weaker in the eyes of the people that studied this after the war. Our people in our government, CIA, okay, they found that the guys like, had Hitler died earlier, the whole operation would have collapsed because it was based on the one charismatic leader. Well, what they decided to do was set up this thing with the illusion of democracy, and we have these very powerful agencies and very powerful people, and if you knock out one, the rest of them are all still there, and that's just a layer between us and the corporate people and the big banks that really run everything. Okay, so that's just the way things work, and you're going to find that out. This is a system where they pick our presidents for us, and they try to pick somebody with charisma so that people say, yeah, we'd get behind this guy, like Clinton, like Obama. Where they recently failed was Hillary and Jeb, who they tried to foist on us the last time. Neither one of them had any personality. They're two of the most, Jeb was always an idiot. I mean, they said he was the brightest Bush, but the people were inbred, so, if he was the brightest, well, we saw what George W. gave us, and so, I mean, you couldn't do much worse than that. But Hillary, people hated her guts. Now, how does anybody really believe that Hillary was going to get all those votes? They stole it from Bernie. The Democrats aren't happy either. So all you Bernie people, I was a Bernie guy originally. I liked Bernie. And then the president came along and showed us what a real president was. Meanwhile, Bernie showed us his true colors. And he got bought out. And now he owns a bunch of houses. And he's, book deals is how they pay him off now. Look at Obama and Michael. So, that being said, listen, folks, get away from the labels. We got to take our country back. It ain't about socialists. It's about globalists, okay? They're not left. They're not right. And we also have a little problem with China. So, the globalists and the China people aren't exactly in the same group either. So it's kind of a three-way thing. But we have to take our country back here. And once we do, the rest of the world's watching. And people are going to start reacting around the world once we take our country back. Peacefully, of course. But before we do that, we have to know what we're dealing with. And that's why I'm doing these videos. Have a nice day. Hit the like button, and we'll see you the next time. Inverted totalitarianism. Remember that, folks. Sheldon Wolin is the guy that came up with that theory, and I think he's got something there. But having been in government, before I knew what we called it, I saw it firsthand as a government manager and whistleblower in D.C. So I didn't know what it was until I discovered Mr. Wolin, but now you and I both know it if you're watching this. So have a great day. We'll talk again, hopefully.